2025 NYSE Tech Summit is underway in Lower Manhattan, convening leaders within the NYSE community, public and private firms to talk everything innovation. And I'm pleased now to be joined by one of the key attendees, Lepe. He's the CEO of Cerby. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
It's great to have you here at the New York Stock Exchange today. Give us a better sense of your company and how it is tackling security challenges among your client base.
So Cerby is an identity automation platform. And basically the problem that we help our customers solve is around closing the biggest remaining gaps in the identity perimeter. And by that, what I'm referring to are basically the applications and the identities that remain unmanaged by modern identity tools. It turns out that when you look at the most common attack point into the enterprise environment, about half of the breaches are due to the human element, specifically with regard to disregarded identities. So you can think of this as anytime you're dealing with a critical identity where it's username and password based and someone has a sticky note attached to a monitor, we've all been there. We help identify those identities and protect them. Now, the reason why protecting those identities is so critical is that the average cost of a breach in the United States today is about 10 million. And globally, it's about 4 million. And the most common attack entry or common point of entry for those breaches is usually something identity related. And so what we're helping our customers achieve is 100% protection of all of the identities and all of the applications across their enterprise ecosystem.
And I see that one source of potential issues are disconnected applications. Can you talk about what that looks like and how it is affecting businesses?
If you look back at most of the major breaches over the last decade, what you end up finding is that the initial point of entry tends to be a disconnected application. And so a disconnected application is defined as an application that doesn't support single sign-on or that doesn't support standards like SCIM, which stands for System for Cross-Domain Identity Management. And so the reason why these applications are considered disconnected is that they can't be managed by modern identity platforms that the company may have already deployed today. And so we provide a way to be able to identify those applications and connect them back into the existing single sign-on or lifecycle management capability set.
How does Cerby solve challenges beyond that realm as well when thinking about what you can provide your clients?
It's cybersecurity is very interesting because it's there's certainly the security aspect of this, but I'd say a common issue that most cybersecurity products have is that you're optimizing for security often at the detriment of the user experience, the end user experience. So is it convenient for them to still be able to use these products? And one of the things that I'm proud to say that the Cerby platform has gotten very good at is you don't have to basically choose one at the cost of the other. You can have a very high cybersecurity posture, but still improve the user experience for end users. And what do I mean by that? Oftentimes when you're talking about disconnected applications, you're talking about applications where users still have to manage credentials for themselves. We're able to remove that and make it possible for them to basically become passwordless, but use their main corporate identity. So imagine a world where you only need to worry about one identity. You don't need to worry about anything that is still legacy, that hasn't really modernized their access approach.
How do AI and automation fit into your workflows?
There's a statistic that was included in the most recent Verizon data breach report that states that 70% of all breaches are due to the human element. And that's a startling figure, right? It's almost 3/4. And when you look at that, one of the things you realize is that, you and I, we are the weak links in any cybersecurity attack chain, right? You're not going to go after the system when you can just go after the end user. There's the adage that hackers don't hack in, they log in. And so where AI and automation come into play is, what if you could remove the human from that attack chain? What if every time you depend on the human to carry out a mission critical task, whether it's updating passwords or reviewing who has access to a mission critical application, what if you could deploy an AI powered agent to actually step in and do that work? And that's exactly what our system does. Anytime you're relying on a human to carry out a mission critical task, we can create agents that jump in and do that work on the behalf of end users. And so AI and automation are critical to how we approach our platform.
Belle, my final question to you is, what are your takeaways from this year's NYSE Tech Summit?
Well, first and foremost, it's been a fantastic half day. It's amazing hearing from companies that are very well known. Many of those products, I use them in my personal life as well as in a professional capacity. I think one of the most salient takeaways, looking at things through a cybersecurity lens, is that the hackers, have been faster to incorporate AI technologies. But when you look at this over the long term, there's no question that the enterprises will be able to better take advantage of AI technologies. And so, cybersecurity by its nature is very asymmetric. What I mean by that is that a hacker only needs to be successful once, whereas a defender, they need to be perfect 100% of the time. But it's a very positive idea that over the long term, maybe generative AI can actually make that asymmetric landscape more symmetric and eventually asymmetric in favor of the defender. So that was one of the key points that was mentioned today.
Absolutely fascinating. Lepe, CEO of Cerby, thank you so much for joining us here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Appreciate it.